And as you can see, we got a little bit of a foliage element in the blown out areas of the sky. And you can fix that with a little bit different. What you would want to do is create another adjustment layer, hue saturation adjustment layer. Where is our hue set? There we go. And go back to the yellows, and let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit on this image and select with the eyedropper tool this particular shade. And we're not really worried about the rest of the foliage. We're just trying to adjust out this bit of red out of the sky. Let's drag the saturation all the way down, and now it becomes a neutral. I know this is for a fact that this is a blown highlight, and occasionally blown highlights will take on a different tone. But when they do that, they don't become pure white, 256 or 255. You know, the number of pure white. They become kind of a muddy gray when you desaturate. So what you want to do is you want to drag your lightness lever to the right all the way to kind of blow those back out. And you can do the same thing for this yellow if you're interested. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Let's select our yellows. Oh, 1 second here. Actually, it doesn't really matter what other tone you select. You can always go with the eyedropper tool, and Photoshop will automatically name them yellows or whatever it feels the shade might be. Let's go ahead and desaturate this as well and bring the highlights back in, and there we go. That looks much better. But as you can see, our foreground also became black and white. So what we're going to do now is make a mask in this last hue saturation adjustment layer that fixes that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and zoom in. Let's zoom out first. Let's zoom out and switch our tools so we have our black as our foreground, and with the mask selected, if you click Alt Delete, that'll fill your mask with black, meaning that all the adjustments we've made in this adjustment layer are no longer visible because the black mask hides them all. Let's switch out the white as our foreground color, and with our paintbrush tool selected, let's go ahead and make the brush size larger, and we're gonna go ahead and paste in or paint in the area of the mask where we want the hue saturation adjustment layer to show through, which is in our sky highlights that don't look right. And there you go. That solves that problem and gives you the result. And you can kind of turn that layer off and back on and see that we're only affecting the area in the sky that is not looking right. Here's another image that suffers from the same problem. As you can see, we've got a nice, for the highlights, instead of them being pure white like they're supposed to be. This is, by the way, a D70 image from Nikon D70, and it's quite common from the D70 to have highlights that take on a cyan shade for IR images. When we'll do the exact same thing, let's go ahead and go to our hue saturation adjustment layer, and we're just correcting for these highlights, not doing the channel swap or anything. Let's go ahead and select cyans, use the eyedropper tool, and pick a nice spot that represents representative of all the colors in the cyan highlights, and drag the saturation to the left to make it black and white. And as you can see, it gives it an ugly, like a mid-tone gray color, which is not how highlights look. So let's go ahead and drag the lightness all the way to the top and bring those highlights back. And that pretty much takes care of that problem. You know, here's how it was before, and with this simple hue saturation adjustment.